Well, g'day, and welcome back again to Jiao Ching. And we're sitting down here outside by a lake. We've got a lot of seating here. And today we're going to have a little chat again with Mr. Tony, who's been off filming some of his work earlier. So he did some artwork up behind us for a local shop. And we're going to sit down and have a little chat about whatever we end up chatting about. So, yeah, we'll see where we go.
Hello, mate.
How are we going?
Yeah, good stuff. So, right, as I just said to my viewers there, today you and I are going to have a chat.
Yep.
And one of the things I want to do is kind of give 10, a list of 10 things that I think may be popular in the media at the moment, social media or mainstream media. And once I've listed those 10 things, maybe you can choose one of those subjects and we'll talk about that.
Easy.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Here's a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything better to do on my birthday.
Is it really your birthday
It
today?
is today.
Bloody hell. Happy birthday, mate.
I've kept it very quiet.
Let me make sure. You're saying quiet. I've got to make sure my voice is in my microphone there because Scott can talk and his microphone can be 6 feet away and it'll still pick him up. But me, I'm not quite so loud.
See, you need to talk. You need to learn to talk like an Australian
Right, I'm going to try and do that now, mate.
or a Chinese lady on a bus.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, you're right there. Right, I just need to move my camera a second. Right. In the mainstream at the moment, it's obviously going to be political stuff to do with Trump and his new cabinet. 2, the views of people in China. I've seen something on recently about that, whether they're speaking for China or against China. I've done a few videos on properties and the housing market. Another topic is also what it's like to be living in China as a foreigner. YouTubing in China. That is 5, I think. Chinese products, cars, phones, computers, drones, etc. 6. Another topic, relationships in China. What it's like to have a relationship with a Chinese woman or man if you're a woman in China. Working in China. And I think that's 8. Visas. Anything about visas and what kind of visas there are to live and work in China or tour China. And the last one, the last topic, let's say, would be... Give me a second. Relationships, politics. Financially, the cost of living in China, how easy or difficult it is to support yourself or your family if you're married when you're living in China. So which one of those topics, and I would have listed them on my video during the edit, interests you or you could fancy having a chat about?
Well, you had 6 there that I straight away went, yeah, I want to talk about that.
Let's go for one of them.
Which one? Products in China.
Products, electronic products. For?
Stuff that you buy and you use day to day.
Okay.
Whether it's technology or whatever sort of stuff you buy.
Right, so there's 2 ways of purchasing products in China. One is generally on Taobao,
Yeah.
and the other is in shops. From those 2, which one do you prefer?
In shops,
You prefer shops.
definitely.
Okay. Have you ever shopped on Taobao?
Oh, all the time.
But you prefer shops?
I generally buy on Taobao if I can't get something local. I do like to support local shops, even if it costs a little more.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy and support a local business, support the local community that allows me to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But there are a lot of things you can't get. So, for example, the Pocket 3 that we're both filming on.
Yeah.
I went into the DJI store. I wanted to buy the Pocket 3 with the Creator combo kit, the extra battery, and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they said, go on, buy it online in our Taobao shop. Which I went, what? Why can't I buy? They didn't have them in stock.
Oh, wow.
So there's shops like DJI and various others which are more about being somewhere to go, people can go and see the product and then go away and buy online. I was talking with the guy in the DJI store. He told me they don't really sell much in the shop.
Yeah.
It's there for people to come and look at. They'll demonstrate stuff and then say, buy it on Taobao.
One of the things I've noticed about Taobao, because someone said that to me in a DJI store as well, and I went on Taobao, and then the products were the prices varied quite dramatically, and it turns out some of them were not. They were DJI products, but from other sellers. And then
actually, it wasn't Taobao I bought that on. It was JD.com.
Oh, okay.
So Taobao is a lot of businesses sell, whereas JD.com is a little bit more. The shops that are on there are generally more the actual companies.
Yeah.
Will have a store.
I'm going to just show my viewers, I can show yours as well, what the Taobao logo looks like. Okay, there is in the top right hand corner, it's a red logo there on my phone. There we go, that's the Taobao. And as soon as I press that, Taobao comes up and a whole list of items. And then you just simply scroll through those and something will pick your fancy and you go, oh, and you start to look at them. So that's how Taobao works. And then sometimes you'll even press on a product, and because you pressed on that product for the next 3 or 4 days, you might be inundated with them trying to sell you this particular product or something similar.
Or you get all the same sort of stuff. So if I bought a pair of shoes last week, new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And now my feed's full of shoes.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I just bought shoes. I don't want 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, and as soon as you make a purchase, sometimes you can even find the same product but cheaper. And I think, oh shit, why did you do that?
Yeah.
I bought something for 50 RMB and then now you're showing me stuff of the same. That's 40. Okay, so we're on about purchasing stuff. You prefer shops.
Yeah.
From my understanding, you're in the process of buying a drone.
Yes, I will be buying a drone in 2 weeks' time.
Right, I want to know who makes the drone?
That'll be DJI again.
And what drone you're going to buy?
Air 3S.
And what research have you done on drones to make that decision?
I watch every drone video I come across on YouTube. I love drones. I've got a Phantom 4 Pro at the moment, but it's very old, and it's also, the Phantom 4 is big. You can't fold it down like you can with the Mavic or the Air 3 and stuff, the Mini.
Yeah.
So it's a huge box that you've got to carry around, and it's just, I barely ever take it anywhere because it's just too much hard work. So yeah, I'll be getting the Air 3S and then selling my Phantom online. So I got a friend who's going to help me do that, put it through a second-hand goods site.
Okay. Before he says any more, I'm going to ask my viewers, and maybe even Scott's viewers here, if you've got a drone, thinking of getting a drone, then maybe tell us in the comments below what drone you would recommend, or is Scott making the right choice on this decision? So please let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, I probably should wait.
What's the drone where they put it on the hand and you don't
the new one is that the Neo?
Don't know. They seem pretty noisy, but pretty good.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah. I went down to, for those who watch my channel, I went down to walk up a mountain in Zhongshan a couple of months back.
You went down to walk up a mountain. Okay.
Yeah, you have to get to the bottom so you can get to the top.
Yeah, okay.
One of the guys on that trip had I think it's the Neo, the new little tiny one.
Yeah.
And he set this thing up to follow him as he's going up the mountain, and this thing's crashing through like branch of the trees and stuff, and it just kept going. It was an amazing little thing.
And you don't want to get one of them?
No, I want something a bit bigger, better camera.
So the drone you said you're going to get is what again? Remind me.
The Air 3S.
Okay, and will that be operated by the phone, or
No.
you get a controller with it?
No, controller's got the screen built in.
And for those non-tech savvy people, why would you prefer a controller and not the phone?
Oh, your phone's too fiddly, it's all touch screen. Even my Phantom, like that, I had to use my phone for that, but that's a controller and your phone goes on top. Your phone only acts as a screen.
Okay.
If you're trying to use your phone with a touch screen for joysticks and stuff, no.
If you're using your phone and you get a phone call, will it interrupt the controller? If you're using your phone as the controller.
No. Oh, if you're using a phone, I don't know because I've never used a drone like that.
Right. Okay.
I
worried that it would.
I don't know.
If you get a message, oh shit, I got a message, and now the drone's giving it. What are you doing?
Well, something like DJI, if you stop controlling, it'll stay where it is.
Okay.
But those cheap drones that
Yeah.
you can get, the toys, basically, if they don't have GPS built in,
Yeah.
like I had one of our teachers, her daughter
Yeah.
bought a drone, and she brought her daughter down to the school so that I could show her how to fly a drone.
Yeah.
And this thing had no GPS, and it was a windy day, and like you couldn't hover.
Uh-huh.
As soon as you take your hands off, it just blows away.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
if you're getting a decent drone, no, I don't think that would be a problem. But I don't think a decent drone would use your phone as a controller anyway.
Right. Okay.
You might use it for a screen, but not as the controller.
Okay. I think we've drowned that subject now. So let's go on to one of the other 9.
Okay, what
Yeah,
else did you mention there?
You said 5, maybe 5.
Yeah, there were
interests of
6
your
I
fancy.
picked.
Was there?
So we've got one out the way.
Okay.
Visas.
Visas. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I had a comment on
Yeah.
a video. Actually, I'm going to
Yeah.
pull it up here because somebody did ask a question, and I did tell him I will try and
Get the answer.
get the answer for this because I only really know the visa I'm on. I don't know all the other sort of stuff. So, just give me 1 second here. Right. Where was he? It was about here somewhere.
Was it about tourist visas, marriage visas, working visas? They're all different. Business
It
visas.
was about. He basically asked the question, and he must have heard.
Mhm.
Okay, here we are. It's in this one. Okay, so here was the question.
Yes.
So it's 2-part. What do you do when you get sick in mainland China as a foreigner?
Yeah.
Their insurance is only for locals. You have to pay full price, right? And how can foreigners get around the problem of never being able to get a resident permit? Do you have to leave China every 3 months?
Well, I know the answers to those questions.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we have got an answer from someone else here, but it's too long. I'm not going to read all that out. So let's start with the get sick in China.
Yeah. But the chances of getting sick in China are pretty high in the first couple of months because you may get food poison or a cold or a fever of some
and
kind.
just adjusting to the food and stuff.
Yeah,
It's-
that's right. Yeah. And the water. Every now and then, when you first come to China, you make a mistake and you might just drink a little bit of tap water or whatever. But so that kind of sickness isn't really much, but it makes you feel shitty. And you go to the hospital, you pay a very small sum, like 20 RMB. You get a needle in the hand, and it gives you inject some fluids and you get better.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. You could just fight it out yourself, go home and wrap up warm
Yeah.
and, fight
Let
the fever,
yourself
let's
get
say.
better.
Yeah, and you will get better. Then there's, some kind of something more serious. You may get hit by a bike or a car and have something, a limb broken, or you might, have an internal problem of some kind, and then you are going to go to hospital. If that injury takes place and is a cause of the place that you're working at, your work will pay for that treatment because you can prove that it happened at work. So if you slipped over at school and it was proven that the floor was slipped, the school will pay for it. Even if you broke a hip and a leg, whatever. If it's out and about like we are today and we have an accident, then we have to pay for it. Now, regarding insurance, I've never had insurance in China when I'm not working. So I've paid for everything, and I've had quite an extensive amount of treatment, let's say.
Yeah.
I've had a brain scan, I paid for that because I was having severe
How
headaches.
much does that cost?
200 RMB.
It's so cheap.
200 RMB. I had a CAT scan about 2 years ago, the entire body in this machine, magnetic thing, whatever, and that was, oh my God, that was stupid, like 500 RMB. And the results came out the same day, and then that also includes the sit down, talk to the doctor after, how things are. I've never broken a bone in China, but generally speaking, the cost of going to the hospital, seeing a doctor, paying for the medication is never going to be that much. It's never really going to be that much. The cost of insurance may be higher than the treatment that you'll get for anything that goes wrong, if something goes wrong within that 12-month period.
If you
This is private insurance, so I can't really say what it costs for private
insurance, I'm not sure either. See,
Private
I'm in a bit of a special circumstance. Like, I get insurance from my school,
Yeah.
but I'm also in a medical college,
Yeah.
and we've got an attached hospital.
Yeah.
So anytime I've been to hospital, so I had kidney stone once. One time I had bad shoulder.
Yeah.
I think that's the only two times I've been in hospital since I started working, not counting the first couple of days I was here. I ended up in hospital for a night with dehydration. That's another story. But the two treatments I've had in our school hospital, the only thing I have ever paid for was the medications. Because I work for the school that the hospital is attached to.
I suspect, sorry to interrupt you, I suspect that the viewer that asked the question is, if I come to China for a holiday and I feel sick and have to go to hospital, or something happens and I have to go to hospital, so that maybe they will have travel insurance from their own country.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
So.
So if that's the case, then you would simply go to hospital, and you don't get your travel insurance to pay for anything until after the event, is it?
And I would probably
Yeah.
go into the hospital and ask how much is this going to cost first, because half the time it's probably not going to be worth all the paperwork to actually go through your insurance.
Correct. Yeah.
The
The procedure is you go to the hospital, they take a copy of your passport if they haven't already got it, and you get issued a white book with a Red Cross on that. That's the local area. From there, they register you in to see a specific doctor of what is your problem. Then you sit and wait to see that doctor. Once you've seen that doctor, they will confirm whether or not you're sick with that problem, and make a diagnosis of that. And then they will say, right, this is the treatment that you would need to follow up to make this problem better.
yeah.
Once you get that, then you go down and they tell you the cost of that. And at that point you can say yes or no.
Yeah.
And then you either get the medicine or you start making the appointments.
I'd also recommend on that,
Yeah.
go look at Jerry's Take on China.
Yeah.
About, what was that, 3 or 4 months back? He had a blood clot in his leg.
Uh-huh.
And he actually talked about all the procedure going through, how much everything cost. and he covered it. You know, he didn't.
Right in depth.
He didn't hide any. He didn't try and hide any personal stuff. He was very open with all the costs, all the treatment.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to see how it actually works here, go and check his channel out. Go and have a look at that video of his. If I remember, I'll try and link that video in this video for.
Well,
my
I
channel.
did it sounds quite small compared to that particular problem, but I did have some really painful experience with an ingrown toenail, and I videoed that, going to the hospital, getting
Yeah,
the
what
treatment.
was that? 6 months ago. I remember.
It was about 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah, I remember. I
And,
remember you struggling with that.
Yeah, that was quite a painful experience, and I couldn't hold it any longer, so I went to the hospital about that, and it got seen, got medication. I didn't know medication could fix an ingrown toenail, but it did, and the whole thing, and now 6 months later,
Yeah.
I've got 9 toes.
Yeah.
I haven't really, I've still got 10 toes. yeah. So, what was the other one he mentioned?
Visas.
Visas.
Which makes me think he's not thinking of coming here on a holiday. He's thinking about coming here for some work.
Maybe.
So visas, it really depends on your employer. It's up to your employer to sort out your work visa, as far as I know, because
Did he specifically mention work visa?
the comment was, and how can foreigners get around the problem of never being able to get a resident permit? Do you have to leave China every 3 months?
Well, there's two kind of permits. There's a permanent residence and there's a temporary residence permit. There are two.
Yeah.
Okay. A temporary residence permit is temporary because your visa is temporary.
Yeah.
Okay. Permanent residence is when you're employed or you're married, then you've got a permanent residence.
Is a permanent residence permanent?
It's only permanent until you're until you're either divorced or
Not working anymore.
you're not
See,
working
I don't.
anymore.
Mine, I don't know if mine's a permanent or a temporary. But
It's-
I've never had to leave the country.
No, you've never had to leave no, your visa dictates your residence permit.
Yeah, right.
Your visa.
I'd have to look at that.
And your visa is ongoing because it's controlled by the school.
Yeah.
So there's no run out date, maybe until you reach
Yes.
retirement
So
age.
I know people who work
Yeah.
who have to go down to Hong Kong every 3 months. I know other people who work and only have to leave the country at the end of their visa and then come back. So it might be a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
And then my visa, I've been here almost 8 years. I've never left.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options, and depending on the company you're working for,
Yeah.
will largely depend on the type of visa they are willing to go for. I mean, my school's done me very, very well. They've got me, I think, the best visa and stuff I could get.
If you've got a contract with a company to work for them for 12 months, then your residence permit will cover you for
12 months, yeah.
Yeah. If the school then asks you, okay, can you stay next year, then it will cover you again for another 12
Yeah.
months. If you're living on the school property, now if you're living in an apartment but you're still working for a school, then you have to apply for that residence permit yourself with the local police station.
Yeah,
Right,
okay. See, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm living in my school grounds.
Yeah,
so.
well, if you moved out now to one of these apartments, you would have to go to the local authority with your school's contract
Yeah,
and your visa, and they would give you the residence permit then.
yeah,
Okay, and that would have to be updated every 12 months because your visa gets updated. So that's something you have to do personally. Yeah. Now, if you're touring the country, if you come here on a holiday, you have to have, before you depart, you have to have your residence. Now, whether that's going to be an apartment, a friend, or a hotel, you have to have those documents available.
yeah. So you have
and
to have somewhere booked.
you have to have somewhere booked. Yeah. Now that kind of visa is going to be either for 1 month or possibly 3 months, depends. And then you'll have to leave the country again. If you've got an itinerary to travel China, then by law you should have the itinerary when you book your visa.
Yeah.
And they want to know exactly what town and what hotel you're going to, and that could be quite painful. My daughter came over and in fact, I even had that issue when I was visiting from Hong Kong just during the COVID period. So trying to work out your itinerary and the hotels you're going to stay in, and then the cost and expense, and say, well, oh, hang on.
And then something happens and you decide, oh, I want to go here tonight.
And that's,
Oh, I can't. I'm booked here.
well, that's right. And that's all before you get your flight ticket.
Yeah.
And then so you go to get your flight ticket, and the flight's cancelled. It's like, well, hang on, I've paid for this, and then you've got to,
Do it all again.
do it all again, or get your money back.
I'm glad I haven't had to go through
Yeah.
any of that.
It's
That'd
all
be a
really,
nightmare.
really quite painful.
No,
Topic number 2.
that's number 3.
Number 3. We've done topic number 2, yeah. Next one.
All right. What about housing?
Yeah. Housing costs.
Because I've had a little bit of experience with my friends in Yunfu.
Yeah.
They're building at the moment,
Yeah.
but I've only ever lived in the one apartment provided by my school. Whereas you've had a lot more moving around and stuff in China.
I've probably lived in, I think I've lived in 4 schools and lived in about 14 different apartments in my time.
Okay.
I mean, in Zhaoqing, I've lived in 4 apartments in Zhaoqing.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, so I have moved quite a lot, trying to get the best deals. I prefer to live somewhere reasonably close. I don't want to travel too far if I can from work, or I might get sick and tired of the neighbours, the noise, or whatever, the environment. So I have lived in 4 apartments in Zhaoqing in 8 years, and several apartments when I lived in Guangzhou as well, in schools. Some really bad ones and some really good ones. Yeah. So,
What does it cost you to rent?
Well, the renting cost in this city is much, much cheaper than Guangzhou. Guangzhou is a main city, and the cost of rents there can vary. They can vary between 4,000 a month to up to. I've known some foreigners paying 12 to 16,000 RMB a month. They've got something quite luxurious, about 160 square meters. What for, I don't know. But they live like kings and queens, and yeah, that's good if you can afford it. Sometimes a company, and I don't mean a school, some people here who are working for finance companies or business companies or exports companies will pay pretty high rents for good apartments in the heart of Guangzhou.
Yeah.
And then you can also get things as cheap as, the one I'm living at the moment is 1,400 RMB a month. That's about 150 English pounds. But you can still get cheaper.
Yeah.
You can get,
Oh,
you can get
yours,
as cheap as
you're in a
800.
fairly new building.
Yeah.
It's not like one of the old places.
No, I'm in a very good area, very good, there's lots of amenities nearby, and it's a reasonably new building, yeah.
Yeah, so your apartment's not huge, but you're in a new place. So yeah, that's probably a pretty good
My
price.
apartment is 40 square meters. It's just one big room with a bathroom, kitchen and bed and lounge area all in one, with a balcony. And it's just perfect for one person. Really is, really is good, yeah. All those rooms. When I had an apartment in Zhaoqing with 3 bedrooms, it was 130 square meters. And in those days, I would teach in one of the rooms.
Yeah.
I turned one of the rooms into a classroom. I had another room for where the parents would sit whilst I was teaching, and then I had 2 rooms for myself. And sometimes when you move in any apartment in China, you need one of the rooms to be a storage room, because a lot of landlords will collect things, almost like junk to us, but they might have 2 or 3 sofas, a couple of mattresses and cupboards. You think, I just don't need it, so you've got to put all that into one of the rooms that you won't use.
Yeah, I've got a room like that in my place.
Yeah, a lot of Chinese are hoarders. Back in the UK, we would put it either in the attic or in a garage, but in China, it's in the house and you take it. The first apartment I ever had, there was a fridge freezer in the living room. Yet we had a kitchen. I had a kitchen with a fridge freezer in it, and I thought, I just don't need it. I ended up putting it outside on the balcony, and then got billed for it because the landlady said at the end I'd ruined her fridge freezer. So
Yeah, they had,
deposit.
when I moved into my apartment, they had had one of them little bar fridges
Yeah.
with a tiny little freezer compartment in the top. I just looked at it and went, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
So first thing I bought when I moved into my apartment was a proper refrigerator, full size,
Yeah.
because like you fit a couple of bottles of milk and I don't know, it wasn't really big enough to put anything in the freezer, a tray of ice blocks.
The first place I ever lived at was in a school. The school's name was Wonderland, on the edge of Foshan and Guangzhou. And I had two very large rooms. One was a bedroom with the bathroom in there and a living room. And what I found and it really did get to me, the other rooms along the corridor, it turned out I had these two rooms. The teachers that was living and working in that school, they had one of my rooms accommodated 4 teachers.
Dormitories.
Yeah, and the other room would accommodate. So I had literally 8, the same size as 8 teachers had, and I felt, oh my God, this is heartbreaking. They all share one toilet. They don't have a.
Yeah, well, where I am, I mean a lot of the apartments in our buildings. So we've got 6 apartment buildings behind our school.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been bought by ex-teachers, and a lot of the ex-teachers have moved on, but their families now live there. So we've still got that sort of attachment. But the school's still got a number of apartments that they use for teachers who have come from other cities.
Yeah.
And they're the same. They, the apartments, I think they're all 3-bedroom. But so they'll have 3 teachers in each apartment.
Now, when you buy a property in the UK, you get your mortgage, you pay off your mortgage, and that's yours. But you still got to pay poll tax. You still got to pay the government. So although it's yours, theoretically you own the land. But theoretically, but here, because these apartments are all just apartments, they're all, in retrospect, leasehold. Even if you buy one, you never
truly own it.
Never truly own it. So. And I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, if you've heard the same, or if you, the view are no different, even when you buy a detached property, you only own it for 70 years, and then it goes back to the government. How true is that?
I think that's totally true, but at the same time, it's also not hard to renew that lease, and it's rather cheap.
And what if it's in an apartment block and the whole apartment block needs renovating, and if they decide to knock it down, you have no say in it? I'm asking the question.
Well, I imagine not. But then, I mean, I'm sure you've seen them pictures of where they build a highway and someone doesn't want to move and their house is stuck in the middle and they've built the road around their house.
Yeah.
We've got one of them in our new campus. In front of our new campus, like they took out a heap of housing of this little village, and this one guy didn't want to move, so he's still there.
Yeah.
And he's got a house stuck out in the middle with no other houses around him. It's probably a great. I mean, I often look at the house and think, geez, I wish school would buy that and I could live there. That'd be a great place to live. But it's not like they're just forcibly removed like a lot of people think. The people who left the area where my new college was built, they've all got new apartment buildings out in Dinghu.
Yeah.
From what I hear, they're all pretty happy with where they are now. They got brand new places with all the amenities. It's there are people who do stand up and say, no, I don't want to move. But I think most, with the development you see around here, so many new places, people are going, oh yeah, let's go and live in a new place.
Okay. Right, another subject.
Right, what else did you have on there? Trying to think, what other subjects did you mention? Do you remember them?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Politics, we're staying off politics.
Okay, let's go politics a little bit. It's not so much politics, it's more media.
Okay.
Because I think the politics on this one have actually been pretty good. The Chinese warships doing war games between Australia and New Zealand.
I know nothing about it.
Know nothing about it. That's a shame because that's a subject I would like to talk about.
Well, let's go for it. Tell us what you know.
Okay, so what I've heard, what I understand is that the Chinese government went down to, is it the Tasman Sea, I think, between Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
Or maybe that's the sea between Australia and Tasmania. Wherever, in between Australia and New Zealand.
Whatever.
The Chinese Navy, I think they got 3 warships and they're doing live fire exercise. From my understanding, they notified the Australian government, they notified the New Zealand government. New Zealand minister has said we would have liked a little bit more warning, but they've done it all legally. So there's no issue between the governments. It's not really a political thing. But the Australian media have been up in arms about China being on Australia's doorstep with their warships, rah-de-rah-de-rah.
The entire media, or did you have left and right wing media?
I haven't heard that much about, I don't follow it that much. So I
Okay.
don't know if it's the entire media or if it's just the right wing, the ones who are kicking up a fuss that I'm hearing about.
Okay.
I don't know because I'm not in Australia and I don't pay much attention anymore.
Okay.
But my thing is, Australia's been doing these freedom of navigation thing in the South China Sea
Yeah.
for years,
Yeah.
along with the Americans and the British and various others.
Yeah.
Now, China's in international waters. They did notify the Australian government. I don't know if the Australian government put out a press release that the media just didn't pay any attention to. But the Chinese Navy is in international waters. They've done everything by the book. What's the problem? Why is it such a big issue when China does that there, but they don't criticise the Australian and the US Navy when they come in?
Sorry, who's going to criticise the Australian Navy?
The media. If they're going to
Chinese
criticise the Chinese Navy,
Yeah.
why aren't the Australian media criticising the Australian Navy when they do the same thing off the coast of China?
Why is the Australian media not criticising Australia?
Yeah.
Well, because
If they're going to jump on China for doing this stuff, I don't know how far, a few hundred miles off the
Yeah.
Australian coast, why don't they criticise the Australian Navy for being a couple hundred miles off the Chinese coast?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. If any of you know the answer or think you know the answer, then write a comment
I just find it
in the section below.
hugely
I've got no
hypocritical.
idea why.
I actually commented, it was, what channel was it? Reports on China
Yeah.
did this story, because he's a Kiwi.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
So, yeah, we both sort of got a vested interest in that one.
Yeah.
And I commented under his video, I said, good on China. Give Australia a taste of their own, as an Australian, give us the Australian media a taste of their own medicine. Because Australia's been doing the same thing to China for years and years and years.
The only thing
And somebody came back and
Yeah.
commented underneath and said, first they said, well, you're obviously not a real Australian.
Yeah.
What, because I have a different opinion to you, that means I can't be an Australian? And then he brought up all the clashes between Chinese boats and Malaysian boats and Indonesian boats in the South China Sea. I'm thinking, why are you changing the subject? Why aren't we talking? That's not what the subject was. And he was changing the subject because he hasn't got a good bloody response to what I said. It's, I just hate the hypocrisy in the media.
Well, the only thing I don't like about these live firing exercises that you're referring to is, and this is a bit of a violin thing, but it's just me and wildlife, is
Yeah.
the damage it causes. I mean, when whales and, whales, I always said like Essex whales, it really screws up their the routes that they take.
Oh, yeah.
Migration routes that the whales take. The marine life, basically.
Even
is
the sonar on submarines and ships and
I
stuff.
can't
can
stand it. I wish
be
they
in
wouldn't
trouble.
do live firing exercises in waters anymore. There's no, it's only to test the accuracy of the gunners.
Yeah,
sort
you
of like,
could do that on land, couldn't you?
I don't know.
On a
Just-
big lake somewhere.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I don't like the pollution of the sea, and I don't like bombs going off in
Nah,
the
I'm
sea.
with you on that anyway.
Yeah. So,
But I'm not going to criticise China for doing that without saying everybody else should be stopping doing that as well.
yeah.
China. I don't think China's the worst for that, but we won't go there.
Okay.
Right,
so with those subjects said, we're going to take a brief interlude and get a quick drink, and I'll come back to you in about 1 second. Right, okay, so now let's get back to the last topic.
One more topic before we wind up.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things I mentioned on the list here.
YouTubing in China.
Oh, good one. Okay.
Let's start. Why did you get into doing videos?
Oh, you want to ask me?
Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
give both of our experiences because we do have similar stories and we have differences as well.
Okay. Why did I get into it? I don't really... I can't vouch for other YouTubers, although there is a similarity, even with the Barrett channel and Jerry's Take on China and other YouTubers. I got to a point of my life where I had to retire from teaching full time, and I still like China, still love China, and I needed to find a new hobby.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of public speaking. I've done, selling stuff and talking to vast amounts of people and students as well. And I was reasonably confident in talking in front of the camera. I also have an interest, although I'm not tech savvy, I do have a great interest in most electronic products. I just don't have the technical skills. So I go onto YouTube to learn something about a particular product and skill. So YouTubing, it interested me a lot. It really did. I didn't ever think it would be as a source of income, but more of a hobby until I find another career, let's say. So I decided to do YouTubing. I never really knew what kind of channel I was going to do, other than it's going to be about China. Then COVID came along and I had to leave China for a while, whatever. So it was more of it was kind of like more of a diary. And I've continued my YouTubing now because I really don't see much of my own children and my grandchildren. And so this is, in many respects, is a bit like a photograph album of, oh, where's granddad or whatever. They can watch it in later years when I kick the bucket or whatever, and my family can keep tabs of what I'm doing. So although we have all this technology now and I can WeChat my mother or my kids, whatever, we still don't have a great deal of contact, although it's much more than it used to be when I was in the military and we had to write letters, blueys, whatever, and it would take weeks to get a letter. So now we can talk pretty much whenever we want, but we don't, because that's the nature of life, although we've got all this easy access. So YouTubing was a way of letting my family know of what I'm up to as well. And as time's gone on, I find it particularly interesting. And I love to read comments from complete strangers, whatever. And I don't mind abusive comments, trolls or whatever, and I do write back if you've watched my channel.
They just make me laugh.
Yeah, they make me laugh too. But I do respond to pretty much 80% of all the comments I ever get. And it's only time restraints that stops me responding. I don't have one specific topic in mind, but I like to keep China within that topic. I'm also the type of person, I will not talk about a country, certainly I won't talk about a negative side of a country if I've never been to that country. If I talk about America, I've spent 2 years there. I've spent some time in Germany, 8 years in Germany. I've been to Turkey, Norway, Sweden. So I can talk about countries that I've been to, and I don't think anyone really has a right to slag a country down that they've never been to, because they're only getting it from hearsay, even if that hearsay is mainstream media, particularly the BBC.
I have a bit of a different opinion on that. In that...
Elaborate.
Okay, let's go with America. You've been there, I haven't.
Okay.
So you can slag America off from experience.
I don't want to or don't need to. Yeah.
Whether you choose to or not is up to you.
Yeah.
If I see something in the media that I feel strongly about, I don't mind talking about it. I don't generally talk about it on video. I don't really want to get into it on video. But if we're sitting down talking, I'll slag off something I've heard about.
Yeah.
But I'm also pretty conscious that I'm talking from, this is what I've heard,
Yeah.
and if this is true, then this is wrong. But I could be wrong. And it's like, a lot of people have a perception of America, everybody's got guns, everybody's gun happy, rah,
Yeah.
rah, rah, because
Yeah.
all you hear about is the shootings in America.
Okay.
School shootings and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's, 350 million people in America?
Yeah.
You hear about however many school shootings a year, that's a tiny percentage of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, when you see media don't like to report on the good things that happen because that doesn't get them the clicks.
Uh-huh.
If I'm criticizing something about a country I haven't been to, I do try to say, look, this is what I've heard, and if this is true, then I don't think that's a good thing.
Let's just say for a moment, 2% of Americans have been to China.
Yep.
That would mean that 98% haven't.
Yeah.
98% of Americans would have, the only view of China would be from what they've seen on mainstream media or other YouTube channels.
Yeah.
That would also mean that 98% of Americans, in retrospect, think China's not a very nice place, that think China's a bad place. And in saying that, prior to YouTube and prior to me coming to China 17 years ago, I had a bad outlook on China because that's what the BBC had told me, that's what my school had told me, everything had told me China was bad. So I kind of, right, I'm going to go to China. Is this bloody true?
See if it's accurate.
See if it's accurate. So my opinions of America, because I went there for 2 years, I travelled the whole country. I have a pretty good outlook on geographically what America is like, from California all the way up to New York and Texas. I've got a feel of it, and so I could say, no, that's not quite right. I know things have changed. Some things have changed. But
things change everywhere.
But a lot of viewers, most of these viewers that you and I get on our YouTube channels have never been to China. So they're watching the video to find out what is China like from real people, not mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, that's partly why I started doing YouTube.
Yeah.
So my I had two sort of reasons for getting into YouTube.
Yeah.
One was questions from Australia, from friends of mine, saying, oh, what's this like, or what's that like? And I got sick of answering all the same questions. So I thought, I'm going to make videos, and just people can just watch a video, questions answered.
Okay.
I got more questions than I had before. It just led to more questions.
Yeah.
But the other reason I started was I've been watching, Lee Barrett, Jerry's Take on China, Reports on China, various others, Living in China, Jason.
Yeah.
And they're all sort of doing different sort of angles on their take on China. So Jerry does a lot of political stuff. Reports on China does a lot of the media coverage of China and how the West is covered in the media.
Why is it? Okay, so why is it? And you, the audience, can answer this question. Why is it a lot of YouTubers tend to talk about China in comparison to America?
I have no idea.
And they've never been to America.
Yeah, no.
So why is it because Americans watch most YouTube? I think something like 42% of my viewers are from America.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm ever comparing China to anywhere, I compare it to Australia. I don't.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do it a lot because I don't think that's even a fair thing.
There's a YouTube channel called, forgive me for saying this, Serpent ZA. He's from South Africa. He doesn't compare China to South Africa. He compares China to America.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry does America.
He's living in America though.
But Jerry does sometimes do the UK too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lee has gone off the subject of comparisons now. He just does tech stuff and cars, etc.
I hate to defend Serpent ZA, but he is living in America now, so fair enough. But
He did live in China. Yeah.
yeah, he lived in China for
Yeah.
I don't know how long, quite a while I think, but
Okay.
yeah, got not much time for that guy.
Okay. So the question is about YouTube in China. How difficult is it?
Well, I don't find it difficult at all because I tend to. All I want to do is go out, go for a walk,
Yeah.
video wherever I am,
Okay.
and then I'll just talk about whatever. If anyone who's watched my videos, you know I'll just talk and talk and talk. So no, I don't. Sometimes I'll have something that'll happen, and I go, I want to talk about this subject.
Yeah.
But generally, I'm just taking people out and showing what I see.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this before, like you spend a lot of time editing your videos.
Yeah.
I put a starting little thing at the start
He does.
and an ending thing at the end,
Yeah.
and I just play the whole video.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and I haven't seen it lately, but I remember when I first came to China, I used to see people who were doing videos around China,
Yeah.
and they'd have this shot, and then the camera would turn off, and they have this shot, and then you'd have people saying, "Oh, you just edited out all the bad stuff."
Yeah.
I went, right, I'm just not going to edit anything. If I go for a walk, you're going to come for a walk the whole length with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to edit anything out. Then I can't be accused of that garbage.
Right.
Um,
Okay, but YouTube in itself. What about the fact that VPNs are not allowed in China, or are they?
VPNs are allowed in China.
They are allowed.
Yeah, they're not illegal. You can't use a VPN to do illegal activities within
Okay.
China.
All right.
Um,
Illegal activities.
Yeah.
Example.
Well, crime stuff. So, again, back to Jerry's take on China. He's actually done a video on VPNs in China.
Yeah.
And he's told the story several times when he's talked about this. He's been with police in his house,
Yeah.
visiting him for, I don't know, housing checks or resident permit checks or whatever. And he'll have the VPN up, and
Yeah.
the police will say, "Oh, is this your channel?" And they go, and he'll go, "Yeah." The police say, "Oh, I watch your channel. I've got a VPN too." So, you know, VPNs are not illegal in
Yeah.
China.
I've had that too.
It is a pain in the bum though, having to VPNs and all that.
Yeah.
But no, there's no issue really. What about coming up with subjects for you? How do you come up with ideas for what you're going to talk about?
I tend to have when I get an idea. I mean, the last 3 videos I've done is about housing, and to do all the housing things that I wanted to show my viewers, and what I also wanted to talk about was too much for one video.
Yeah.
I try to keep my videos down to around about. I don't really like to go over 20 minutes if I can help it.
So short.
I know. Yeah. So I might divide that particular topic into 3 videos, but also sometimes it's the length of the battery life on the camera, and
Yeah.
also the areas that I want to talk about are so far apart. You know, I have to do some travelling to get from A to B, and so I just turn it into another video.
Yeah.
So once I've done a topic on whether it's political, whether it's lakes, trees, mountains, camping videos, DIY, or housing, like I say for the last one, or night walks. I've done a lot of night walk videos, and I actually done one last night, and that goes up very, very soon, if not before this video. So I tried to do a certain category, break it down into 3 parts, and then upload them. It's very rare that I talk about one subject and then go into a completely different topic. And I try to cover a topic that has interested me. And I'm one of those people, I mean, I have a great deal of interest in painting, jogging, mountains, sport, culture. The only ones I can't talk about, and probably will never do a video about, is dining, eating. restaurants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big food person myself, so I've never really done that myself.
So I will probably never do a video about dining.
I probably should, because I know people do ask.
They do, yeah.
That,
what's the food
but
like?
I don't really know much about it, because I don't pay much attention to food.
I don't eat mushrooms, but last night I ate 3 mushrooms. And because these guys I was having a meal with and a drink with, they just bought loads of them. Oh my God! Okay, so I tried them. They was actually quite nice. But this morning I thought I'd vomit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as regards to topics I choose to talk about, it's usually what interests me, and then hope my viewers like it.
See, you tend to be a little bit more planned than me.
Well, I'm also very pedantic when it comes to editing as well.
Yeah. See, if I'm going for a walk somewhere, I'll take my camera out so I can show stuff. And then while I'm walking, I'll think, okay, what am I going to talk about? Let's talk about this, that, the other. Which, I mean, I mentioned the other day that I was heading up towards 300 videos, and you were quite surprised.
I'm about 205, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Well, you've been 4 years?
Yeah, about 4
And I've been
years.
doing it for 18 months. And but yeah, I'm doing 2 or 3 videos a week. But because I don't have all the editing and stuff that I just don't worry about, I think there's a lot less work. I've done a lot less work getting videos up. I might talk a lot more, but in terms of the actual work.
Yeah, I think in my defence, I'm going to say that's also partly because you have a base. Okay, and for the past 4 years since COVID hit, I've travelled to about 8 different countries. I've not had a base, and so I'm constantly moving around. You know, like I said, I've had 4 apartments in Chongqing, and so sometimes I don't have the mood to do a video.
Yeah.
I don't have
I take
access.
issue with the first thing you said there.
You got a base.
No, before that. In my defence, there's nothing to defend. You do what is right for you. I mean.
Well, okay, my defence to myself then. In my defence to myself for not having as many videos as I mean, if I was living here for the next 10 years, and I know I'm living here, I might be more organised and say, right, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 3 videos, 4 videos. Although saying that, I checked on my analytics the other day, and I've done 7 videos in February of this year. 7. I thought, oh my God, that is a lot. But
so you're getting up for 2 a week.
But in January, I did 3.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same. When at the moment, I'm putting a video up pretty much every day at the moment through Spring Festival, New Year. But I'm on holiday from school. I've got nothing else to do, and I'm bored.
There's a guy in the UK that does videos about camping, and I think, how the hell? And every 3 or 4 days, he's got another video about camping, and he just tries different tents.
Yeah.
And I think, I would never have thought that worked, but he's got kind of like almost 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
I love camping, and I think, Tony, why don't you do it? Well, because in 2 weeks' time, I've got to leave the country again.
That is a wonderful thing about YouTube, is you can find a community.
Yeah.
Like, there's subjects that I enjoy watching on YouTube, subjects that I'm interested in that I never thought many people would be interested in.
Yeah.
But then you find a channel and they've got 1 million, 2 million, 3 million subscribers, and you think, shit, there are people who think like me about this. Okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
No, it's really
right. My mother says I should do more videos about visits to the hospital, because I had sort of like 30,000 views on an ingrowing toenail.
Yeah.
But if I do just visits to the hospital, that means I'm constantly sick. The doctor's going, hey, what are you doing back here again? Oh my God, another one.
I just go out and film any chance I get. And a lot of it is because I just enjoy going and showing people. I just enjoy going out, looking at things. I enjoy the filmmaking thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, give it a year, I might get bored and say, I've had enough, and I'll drop down to doing a video every 2 weeks. But at the moment, I'm enjoying doing this. It just gives me a kick.
All right, so I'm going to ask my audience now, but I know Scott's cameras run, on here, but I'm going to ask you, my viewers, looking directly at my viewers, saying, is there any specific topic that you would like to see more of in China? Would it be more housing, more hospitals, more mountains, or just talking about YouTube or whatever, or talking to Chinese people, seeing what they think of their home country or foreigners in China? And then maybe I could concentrate more on that particular subject. But generally, I'm a variety type person, and I like so many different things. It's hard for me to say, this is my topic.
Yeah, I'm very much, I couldn't do a channel that was that focused. Like,
Yeah,
you see the channels that do political stuff.
yeah,
Occasionally I'll touch on political subjects, but I generally stay away from that. But I do everything. I've done things on education. I've done things on just climbing the mountains. We did video together climbing a mountain.
yeah.
Whatever I'm doing, I'll video because
It's something different. Yeah.
And sometimes you'll do a video, and people won't even know that. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
They had no idea. I always ask at the end of my videos, if you got an idea of what you want to see,
Yeah.
put it in the comments. But quite often, if people haven't been here, they don't really know what they want to see.
Yeah.
So it can be a tricky question to answer for people who don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course once you're talking about your video, or you're filming a video, and neither Scott or I have a what's it called, where you read a script on a teleprompt.
Teleprompter.
As where a lot of YouTubers do have teleprompts now, especially those that do them in homes with a wall behind them. They have a teleprompt, and sometimes even a green screen.
I'd sound like one of them artificial intelligence voices.
Well,
And today there was a big explosion in the... I couldn't do it. It wouldn't sound natural at all.
I'd be more artificial unintelligent. If there is such
That's probably more closer to what I'd be actually.
Yeah. So I couldn't use one of those teleprompts, and so, therefore both Scott and I we just ad lib.
How much research do you do if you're doing a topic?
I talk from experience, actually, not a great deal of research.
Yeah, the same here. I don't do, unless I'm looking. So I did a video about, I've done a couple of videos about specific things where I've gone away and done some research. But generally, no, it's just...
I'm very skeptical where you get that research material from. Because if they're biased and you suddenly think that that's the truth.
Well, I did a video a while back on the Chinese Constitution.
The Chinese Constitution?
Yeah, so I had the Constitution in English.
Okay.
So, that's a government document.
Yeah.
That is the Constitution. Whether you agree with it or not, whether the government abides by the Constitution or not.
Yeah.
That's what's written in the Constitution. So, if I'm doing something like that, yes, I'll go away and find documents.
Of course you have to,
but most of my stuff is, to my understanding, this is how things are. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. It's very... I've said that more than I've probably said anything else.
Yeah.
Because I don't... I'm not 100% certain of anything. I did a video a while back, so I was responding to a viewer comment about why do you live in Jiaoqing, it's such a small city, rah, rah, rah. And in the comment... in the video, I said, well, Jiaoqing's he said in the comment, Jiaoqing's not even a third-tier city. And in the video, I said, well, I was under the understanding that it is a third-tier city. That's what I was told. But it makes no real difference to me whether it is or not. And then a lot of people came back afterwards and said, yeah, Jiaoqing's a third-tier city.
Right, so
you were right.
So if Jiaoqing is a third-tier city, does that suddenly conjure up some kind of image that it's not advanced?
For me, it says smaller.
Mean? It's smaller, right? So this city's got a population just over 5 million people. It covers a ground area of probably, I'm guessing because I haven't looked up, I've done no research, I think it's probably about 40 square miles, something like this, because it goes all the way to Dinghu and beyond.
Well, it goes right to Sirhui.
Yeah, yeah.
Ching out this way.
It's quite a
It's
big piece
huge.
of. Yeah. Now, London in the UK is a first-tier city, but you can live like a six-tier city resident because
Yeah.
it's the slums and the back streets
Yeah,
and the violence and the
that's-
crime.
I live in Jiaqing. I don't care whether it's a first tier city or a 10th tier
Exactly.
city. I live here because it's a nice place to live.
To me, a first-tier city is the quality of life.
Yeah. I mean, what are the first tier cities in Guangdong? You'd have Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Foshan. Would Foshan be a first tier or second tier? I don't even know.
Foshan's a district, it's not a city, is it?
Is it not? I thought it was a separate. Is that part of Guangzhou?
It's a part of Guangdong, but I don't think it's. I mean, Foshan's massive.
Yeah.
I don't think Foshan's a city.
Well, the same as
I don't think so.
same as Jiaoqing.
Yeah,
Jiaoqing is massive.
yeah,
I mean, it goes out to Deqing,
yeah,
Sirhui,
yeah.
Huizhou, Huiji.
You could say
Um,
anything now. Go, yeah.
But like your Guangzhou, Shenzhen, I don't want to live there. They're too big.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If that's what a first tier city is, I don't want to be in a first tier city.
No, well, Foshan seems to be mostly industrialised. There's lots of,
Factories and stuff.
Factories, yeah. I mean, it's nice. I know lots of cities in Foshan. I've done some work in Foshan, worked at some schools there.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. It's a little bit.
Yeah,
polluted.
I went over, did a Gaelic football video over there. They had a
did?
Gaelic football competition, and the
Yeah.
place where they were playing was a really nice area.
He said Gaelic, not garlic.
Yeah, Gaelic football. Smelly game.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
YouTube, there was one other thing I wanted to ask you about. How satisfied are you doing YouTube videos?
How satisfied.
Yeah, how much satisfaction does it give you? Do you really enjoy
Why does
it?
that
Is it
remind you
something
of-
you really enjoy,
It
or
reminds me of that movie. I want what she's having.
what was that? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the clip. I don't think I ever saw the movie. Is
Okay.
that when Harry met Sally or something,
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
How satisfied are you?
Is it a rewarding hobby?
Extremely.
Yeah, I'd agree. I love it.
Extremely rewarding. Yeah, I like it. Even if, I mean, I have 5,400 followers as of today. Maybe 6 months ago I was at 4,000, so it is creeping up. I'd like it to creep up more on a personal level, despite what you, the viewer, thinks. And forgive me, I'm not arguing with this. I think some of my content is much more entertaining and honest than some other YouTubers who have got 90,000 viewers talking about China. I think, no, you're just talking about bloody food.
Yeah.
I can't taste it. You just watch you eat because you've got long blonde hair and sort of like good shape. But it's not interesting to me. But anyway.
Yeah. But
so-
there's lots of people who find food really interesting.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Who
But
knows?
I think as far as I'm satisfied with YouTube. I enjoy it a lot. I'm not entirely satisfied with the amount of subscribers I got. Please subscribe to my video. I do work hard in doing my videos.
Me too.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
And yeah, just keep going until either something else comes up and I find another hobby or whatever. But I hope to YouTube as much as possible and keep improving my equipment that I purchase and learning how to use it better. It's not a cheap hobby, and the amount of hours that I put into making and editing my videos is quite substantial, really.
So, the last video you posted, how
Yeah.
long is it?
The last video I posted was, I think it was 18 minutes.
18 minutes.
I'm guessing.
How long
yeah.
did you spend editing that?
At least 5 hours.
See, that's where we differ hugely. I'll do an hour video, it takes me 10 minutes to edit,
Yeah.
and it'll be uploading.
Yeah, but this is part of my character. Like when I
Yeah.
when I make the bed, I've got to fold the corners, hospital corners, the military stuff.
Yeah, it's-
I am so pedantic
Yeah,
and
it's
sort of
just a different style, and
Yeah.
that's
it is a different style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just different ways of doing things.
When I get up, I wash all over. That's where you just go, fuck it.
Yeah,
Straight up.
I'm more into the actual making,
Yeah.
the filming, and you probably get more out of editing.
I do get a kick out of learning new things in the editing process, putting words up on the screen, moving, shrinking, and going
Yeah.
backwards and forwards. I haven't learned how to use color and sound. You know, I'm not very good at doing some of my videos. I've got really rubbish sound qualities, but I experiment live in the sense that I experiment on my videos that I upload, as opposed to someone doing, learning the skill may experiment, and then some teacher will tell them where they've gone wrong and they get it better and better. So I'm learning as I go along.
Yeah. As we all
But maybe as your videos and your channel becomes more popular, you will start to refine and make things a little better and spend a bit more time editing. You use CapCut, I use DaVinci,
Yeah,
DaVinci, whatever.
yeah, there are things I want to do in the future which are more focused on individual subjects. I don't want to keep on just doing as I've been doing. But that's in the future, and when I start going down that sort of road, I'll still do what I'm doing now as well.
Yeah.
But I do want to start doing some more focused about this subject type videos.
Yeah.
Which will involve, that's going to need me learn how to find pictures and download photos from, if I'm talking about infrastructure and want to get film and videos of the train lines or whatever.
What computer do you use?
I've got a big PC at the moment,
What, mate?
home computer, made here by a
Okay.
company.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know.
I've got a MacBook Air.
Yeah, I don't have a laptop.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's all I have is a MacBook Air, and I find when I'm using, if I want to copy something else off another YouTube channel to talk about that particular subject, I can copy the visual but can't copy the sound. So I've got to go onto YouTube to find out how to copy sound and visual. And then I get all tongue twisted and tongue tied and say, oh my God, I can't be bothered.
See, I've done a few videos lately where I've done screen captures on my phone. I've just figured out how to do that.
Okay.
So I'm sort of learning slowly as we go along.
Yeah.
Because I knew nothing about making videos before I started doing this. I went out, I got a selfie stick, which was just a stick,
Yeah.
no gimbal or anything. Put my phone on and went for a walk and started talking with it. And got home, put it on my computer, went, the camera's going everywhere. No, I can't do this. I need to get a gimbal. So I went out and bought a gimbal, and I've been going strong ever since.
Well, the first 2 years of my videos were all done on my Xiaomi phone with a selfie stick, shaking all over the place. Lee would phone me up and say, Tone, you've got to get yourself a gimbal.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting myself a gimbal, and then I'm making the movie sometimes, and I'd press the wrong button and the camera would turn around like, oh my God.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah, and even that, I think, what the hell's going on? So until the DJI I bought out the Pocket 3, I was...
That's been a revolution.
Yeah, absolute, yeah. So maybe they'll bring out a Pocket 4 one day, and I don't know what that's going to be like. But
Yeah,
the Pocket 3 is great.
I was telling Tony this earlier. I did a video which I uploaded a few days ago, talked with Joanna, who's a university student from Yunfu. She's part of the family I'm good friends with in Yunfu. And a year ago, I did a video with her little sister talking about what primary school's like in China. So as I'm uploading the video with Joanna the other day, I link Emily's video in the top so that, if people want to watch that, they can go and click on that. And as I'm linking it, I'm looking at Emily's video, which was done on my Xiaomi phone, and the video quality is like, whoa, I can't believe how much, because I'd never sort of compared the two cameras side by side before. And the difference is, wow, that's mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, it is.
So no, the Pocket 3 has been brilliant. I got the Air 3S coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And then the next job will be buy a laptop.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to buy a laptop which is going to be just for editing. There will be no games, no anything else on it.
Oh, I don't play games anyway. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no. I just want something that's just editing, because that way everything's there.
Right, so during the editing process now, I'm getting to that point where I'm going to tell my viewers, okay, and I'll even tell your viewers too, Scott. I'm going to close this video now. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. And last night I went out on a night walk. I wanted to do an experiment. I've done many experiments in China regarding the safety and security of China.
Yep.
But last night I went out, suited and booted, tie and everything, carrying a briefcase, and 11:30 at night, all the way up to 2 in the morning, in some dark places and some lit places. I wanted to test how safe China is. Obviously I was hoping nothing would happen, but I felt confident nothing would happen, and I will let you decide. And there's if you want to watch that video, it's on the screen now. Please tune into that after this. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
And I'll finish up my video there too. So hit that like, share, subscribe. Any questions, comments, down there in the comment section. And although we said that you probably don't even know what you want to know about China, if there's anything you'd like to know about life here in China, Guangdong, Jiaoqing, down in the comment section, hit us up. If you come up with a good idea, I'll go away, do the research, make a video for you. Or it might be something that, like this, you want us to sit down and talk about something. Let us know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you all in the next one. Cheers.